Next, under the budget presentations is River City Public Transit, and we have Ron Baumgart here to bring us up to date. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the commission. I think my first comment is, Denny said he's been here 25 years. I've been here about 20. Jim, how long have you been here? We've been doing this same show here, so, and thank you, I guess, from all of us for all the
You're
support.
all in the 20s.
Yeah, so, it's been good, and and it's interesting, as I sit here and listen to Par's, presentation, capital area counseling, we're all just one big part of each other. I mean, we've been able to secure some, grant money to furnish rides for PARs for people that might need them and things like that. We've worked with, capital area counseling, provide service for their vehicles and things like that, and I got to work with Jim this summer. We're able to furnish some of the transportation for the Legion team here from Pierre and save the group a little money, I guess, so that was a good thing. So, okay, with that in mind, we'll move on. Now, I will tell you that I prepared a PowerPoint with my consultant, and after I got lost in it, and I thought I needed to just give up and talk. And so here, and for the new ones, and several, I think 3 of you at least have served on our board at some certain time, so you got a little grasp what's going on and what has gone on in the past. But as I said, been here a while. Back in 2001, we had 4 employees, myself, 3 buses, and did 11,000 rides. And 2005, it wasn't my decision, but it was the mayor, Dennis Easnick at the time, and DOT decided, because we had no cab service or anything else, we should move to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never close the doors. Now, I will tell you that was quite a challenge, and it is still a challenge. So, just a little history, and I guess the other thing I've tried to share as I went out to the other entities is, this is a little different than running a business. I would say we're an essential services community, and I'll share some numbers that you have in your letter, but I'll do it for the benefit of those that might be watching in too. But we didn't grow this because we make money at it. We grew it because we tried to say no, or not say no, to people that needed a ride. So we have, over the years, have grown this system to, from a $179,000 a year budget to just a little shy of $6 million. Trying to not say no. Now, as you know by the letter and what we've requested of you, it's certainly an increase from the past years. We have new regulations that tell us how old our buses can be and what kind of shape they can be in. So we have asked for the funding to help us match right at $1 million worth of bus grants that we have. I think there's been a year or 2 where City of Pierre may have donated a small portion to vehicles, but mostly that has come from other sources. So anyway, again, as we grow, we don't do this to make money. A ride last year cost us $8.95 to give. Our fare is $1.55, or $1 if you're a senior, or $1 if you're a youth. Now, we are looking at changing those fares to help with probably the shortfall that we see in our next year's budget. But the state, South Dakota DOT, where we get our funding through, our funding's federal funds that comes through DOT, is doing a study on fares for rural transits in the state. So I really hate to make any kind of move and then have them come up with something totally different for recommendation or whatever. So we are probably looking at, doing something with fares to a point, but we also know as you raise fares, you lose ridership and you start hurting some of the very people that need to use the service. So just so you know, we're looking at different options. So,
Ron, is there guidance currently from the federal government as far as fares are concerned, or they're just looking?
There really isn't, and the state requirement for us is that we raise at least 15% of the cost of our operation through fares or something of that sort. That we can't just ask for 100% federal funding, which isn't really 100%. It's 80% on that admin and 50% on operating. So,
is that state assistance then? Is that a yearly thing, or is there a longer?
Every year we apply for a grant, and I do even probably a better job of begging there than I try to do here. But no, I'm just kidding. It's more of a process. They go through the rides and the service, and And, you know, we do, I think it's down to 19 transit agencies in the state of South Dakota. We do about 27% of the ridership in the state of South Dakota. So, and just for some numbers, and I know you have this in your letter, but so others might be able to hear it. Last year we gave 358,000 rides in the Fort Pierre service area. Out of that, 248,412 of those rides were given in Pierre or taken to Pierre, and we have 3,387 individuals registered from Pierre that live in Pierre. Of that, 17,560 rides were for elderly folks, 17,148 rides for individuals with a disability, 91,000 rides were youth rides, 16,222 rides were coded to medical rides, and 94,419 rides were coded to education, and 44,657 rides were coded to employment. And like I say, we started at 11,000 rides, 4 people, and all we've done is try to not say no in this community. So, you know, the long story short, we have done about everything we do to generate. First of all, the federal funding comes with some requirements. You have to have the local interest, local support to get that funding. I've sat in a seat similar to yours, and so it's been my goal to try to keep from asking for more funds and to find other ways to come up with that match funding. We have a large contract in Eagle Butte that brings in us a pretty good share of that funding. We've started a project in Sioux Falls where this year we'll give about 31,200 rides, contracting with Dakota Abilities and Lifescapes, 2 of the agencies similar to Hawaii and here in Pierre. We're trying to lighten the load on Sioux Falls area metro as they try to grow. We charge $18.50 for them rides, so we are generating some pretty good income there. Management here in Pierre is managing that staff. I have one of the managers here, Andy Sharp, with me tonight, but we do that all from Pierre, so that supplements our Pierre budget, our Pierre administration costs as well. We're gonna add another 7,000 rides in Sioux Falls next year. And then we also manage Yankton and get paid to do that. We've reached our limit that I have found to be able to go out and get those dollars somewhere else other than coming to the local entities to get them. And so, you know, that's why our request is quite a bit more than it was last year as far as needing some help with vehicles. And I know you guys can only do what you can do, and I'm also hired to do my job, and I will tell you that, you know, I've tried to share this with other entities, we'll have to face some cuts. We're gonna have to, whether it's cutting some hours. We've also visited with the school system. We just visited them here a while back too. I mean, we're also relying on this anymore, and I almost, in some ways, wish we weren't. But I mean, we have 8 or 9 84-passenger school buses out back that are painted white, called public transit buses. We had 150 some parents walk through the door today and register kids, 140 some yesterday. That we do the transportation for the parents for their kids for $1. And that ride cost me $8.95 now. I know we need to raise that some, but you can't raise it to $8.95, it won't work. So we've talked to schools, seeing if there's any way we can't legally contract with school systems. Maybe there's some way that we can be assisted a little bit, but we're trying everything we can. But I'm not gonna be around a lot longer. I don't know how many more of these requests I'll be at, Jim, but I'm not gonna leave this to the next director to make some decisions, and so, you know, we need to look at it. Blake will try to get a meeting scheduled when, you know, it's a time you can be there, and we'll get into this more at depth. I know that really helps out, because it has, when you served, and Jamie and Jim served on the board to bring those messages back. But can't thank you enough for what we do, you know, and what you've done as a city. You know, we have the crew, the street department stuff over there is so helpful and helps us move some snow. All those things save us money, so none of that goes unnoticed. We really appreciate that. It's just we're getting to where we just have to, with the new federal guidelines, keep buses up to a certain shape and style and safety requirements, and it doesn't allow us to run 10, 12-year-old buses with 750,000 miles on them anymore, or they don't like it very well, so. Anyway, any questions for those that are new or haven't served on the board? We'd love to give tours down there and show what we do and show off our technology. We're probably one of the most advanced in technology. I'll share just a couple more minutes. We received a planning grant to look at efficiencies and safety, because safety is a new big thing with FTA with some of the train accidents and things that have happened. We convinced the state to allow us to just travel to transit agencies in the United States. We visited 3 so far. We've got 3 more to do. It's quite a commitment. 8 staff members go for 3 or 4 days. And what we've found, we've learned a lot. There's things done better in other places. As far as we know, we're the only 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week rural transit in the United States. Our technology is far beyond. I mean, we'll be rolling out our iPhone and Android app here soon, where you can tell that your kid's on the bus when they're getting off, buy up their fare card, all that's coming out. We've went to electronic fare cards. But anyway, we're doing everything we can. What we've learned at many of these other agencies, if 50 people call and need a ride to the doctor's appointment, and that's all they do for the day, they tell everybody no. And I just don't want to go there, because I don't know who I'm going to tell no and who I'm going to say yes to. So hopefully we can keep it going, hopefully with your support, continued support, and maybe some extra funds if you can find it. I won't have to make some of these tough decisions like I know you guys have to every day too. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Ron. Questions from Commissioner Huizinga?
Thank you, Mayor. Ron, I guess I'm gonna start off with, my time on the River City Transit Board was a big eye opener for me. I didn't realize everything that was going on here. We live here, but I'm not a big user of River City Transit, but I enjoyed my time. It was quite educational. But it's really been a success story. I mean, you took this on, and it was, a couple broken buses and you, and now you've built this up into. It's providing a lot of service, but it's also a big employer here in town. You've got quite a.
$2.7 million in payroll this year in Pierre.
That's just amazing. But you've also, you talked about these other, managing the Yankton and the Cheyenne. You have hustled to try and generate some revenue, because you can't make it on the fares. You've got to bring it in from somewhere else, but that money that you're, helping these other communities is coming back to Pierre. So that's a huge deal for River City Transit. And but I've mentioned this at previous meetings that getting these kids to and from school is extremely critical. And some of those kids, as a parent, it's hard to imagine, but some of these kids, they may or may not be in school or get home or whatever.
We see that a lot.
Yeah, and so you're their link to keep moving these kids down the line. So we appreciate everything you do at River City Transit.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a continued success, and at some point, I know you're not gonna be there forever.
Yeah, we just want to, I want to turn it over in good financial shape, and we just have to figure out some other sources. And like I said, in my mind, we pulled a lot. First of all, at 64 or 5 years old, I didn't really want to start a new project in Sioux Falls and lease a building and everything. And quite frankly, it's gotten where we actually have one of our full-time dispatchers down there that works out of our office there and still answers for Pierre. We have all the technology there, just like we do here. So you don't know whether and we have a dispatcher, one of our managers from Pierre that manages Eagle Butte, dispatches from Eagle Butte too, and you have no clue that he or she's not setting up your office. We're trying to do everything we can to find efficiencies. The fellow that's in dispatching for us in Sioux Falls has been with us long enough. He's helping us with some of the day-to-day stuff down there without management costs and those kinds of things. So we're doing what we can, but like I said, we're sort of running out, and we do have some huge needs. We've got a huge building down there just to keep care of and maintained and things, and so just needed to ask for some more funds and hope you can find the way to get them our way. Thank you.
Further question? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, please. So I would be the one that hasn't been on the board, I've gathered from the
You'll be after Blake.
Yeah, I'll be next. So I apologize, because I have questions probably that they all know the answers to. And I'll be honest, some of the comments, I get, people are like, what in the world? know, you see all those buses sitting there, you see them parked around town,
Yeah.
just sitting there, or that one person in that, you know, 18 passenger, probably not
Well,
18, but, so, can you help me respond to some
I
of those
can.
things?
You know, we aren't perfect, first of all, but I'll just, you know, we've got scheduling software that tries to put as many rides on as few buses as we can. You know, and in your letter, we pointed that out a little bit, that back in 2013, we gave 371,000 rides, almost as many rides or a few more than we gave last year. 1.4 million miles it took us to do that. You know, we now do it in 934,000 miles. We find efficiencies. I will tell you that I'd rather have, if a driver doesn't have something to do, I'd rather have them stay about where they're at than drive back to the facility and park where
That's been my
all of the
response.
buses have location systems on them. They all get piled in a pile. You can't tell what bus is where, so I'd rather have one stay in Fort Pierre and just sit and wait for a next ride. Again, you may see 2 or 3 buses in front of Walmart at a time and you wonder why, because I've asked the same question. I'm serious. Okay, somebody's going out to Del Acres, somebody's going to Fort Pierre, and somebody's going somewhere else. It doesn't work to put that person on that same bus. So you will get them comments, and again, we are not perfect, but I think what some people lose focus on, we're also not a taxi. I mean, we have to pick up more than one person if we have to. Somebody might have to ride along for a little while till we get them dropped off, and we try to work with folks, and I think it's gotten much better that if they need to be at work at a certain time or school at a certain time, we set that window out there early enough that we get them picked up and drop off, because, you know, our system, and now, like I say, we're gonna have the bus app that if you have a smartphone, you'll be able to tell where that bus is. If you're on that, you know, scheduled to have a ride, it'll show where the bus is at and how close it is to your place. So, yeah, those are things that, I don't care, I mean, I'm on a national board or two for transit and serve an advisory. I don't care, big cities, small cities, you can go to Sioux Falls and see a big 60-passenger bus with nobody on it too, but they're running a route. At least, where we haven't had to go to fixed route yet, there's a reason for that bus being out there. Now, it may be on its hour dinner break and we don't want them back, you know, so, or just waiting. And it's hard. I mean, anybody that's run a business knows whether it's a restaurant or whatever, you can think you know how many waitresses or waiters you need or cooks, but that can change at a moment's notice. I mean, just like today, we had 150 people come in and register their kids that hope we're gonna pick them up tomorrow morning by 8 o'clock. And so all that scheduling's going on now, all that stuff in the computer, is just amazing that we can pull that off, actually. And we probably won't do a perfect job of it tomorrow morning, so.
I appreciate that.
Anytime, call, if you got a minute or two, you know, it takes more than a minute or two for a tour and see some of the technology, but love to show you around.
Okay, thank you, appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Further questions or comments of Ron? As you said, Ron, it's so much more than just the taxi service. It is, I mean, you can't even, you know, there's so many other services that you provide to our community, as well as the middle part of
Yeah.
South Dakota and
We've
beyond.
really, this year we've tried to partner up, like I said, with PARS. We found some funds to give them some resources, senior centers, other areas. Like I said, worked with the Legion this summer and was able to transport folks for them, and because they qualify as an agency like the Boys and Girls Club do and things like that, that we can provide some of that service. And I mean, it's just, you know, our Boys and Girls Club, a family can get their kids picked up and taken to the Boys and Girls Club for $15 a month. I mean, yeah, we probably need to look at that, but quite frankly, there's some that might be about all they can afford to do too. So,
Right.
you know, and I guess we've left a lot of that decision-making up to PARS. I don't want to recreate something that's already a great service in the community too, so.
All right, thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming. It's always good to hear
Yep.
your update. Next